So you said Vidit is in trouble. Break that down for us.
Yeah. Well, it looks like suddenly he has to deal with this problem of Queen H8. I suddenly realized that he can play something like Bishop E4 or Bishop D1.
So let's start with
Yeah.
Bishop E4.
But then Queen A7 keeps a pawn, kind of healthy pawn.
What was the point of Bishop E4? You just wanted
Just
to...
after Queen H8, I can play King F7.
Right.
So I'm hanging in there.
So this feels fine. It's a pawn, which defends the D4 pawn as well. So in this position, the biggest threat that Vidit has to deal with is Queen H8 and the A7 pawn as well. So how do you keep everything under control as black?
I don't see it. But the advantage isn't that big, right?
Exactly.
It's kind of microscopic.
So Bishop D...
Maybe Bishop E4, Queen A7, Bishop D5 is a reasonable option because White's king is exposed as well. And maybe black is simply going to play with compensation.
Can I suggest... Okay, yes. I'm sorry, I've totally lost track of that because I was just wondering if this is a move.
I thought of that as well, but I could go Bishop takes D3.
And Queen G3!
Yeah.
Yes, let me show that. Because I wanted to be clever, but it doesn't work as usual because the queen just comes back,
G3,
stops all the checks and defends the bishop, so this line doesn't work. And sorry, Anand, you were saying?
Yeah, I thought Bishop E4,
Queen A7.
Queen A7, and just play Bishop D5. And King F7 next, and continue a bit.
It's a beautiful bishop. He's thinking.
It's the best looking pawn.
I saw this bishop d3 sir, and then I was thinking maybe I'll go king f7, and if white goes queen h8, then I'll play bishop d3. But then I thought, so why would you play queen h8 if I play king f7? It makes no sense.
Actually, you would because there's bishop c4.
And bishop e4, bishop d5 also.
Yeah, bishop d5. But you, if king f7, then I would have to take on a7, right?
Yeah, you would have to take on a7.
And then you can play bishop d3.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Okay.
I didn't see that.
Ah, so this is the
Yes.
hybrid Tanya.
You made it work. Thank you. When I would play it, it would be a blunder. When you play it, it works.
But after bishop d3, Magnus could play bishop f3.
So sorry. So king
But then
F7,
bishop e4.
queen A7.
Queen d1, yeah, I don't know. Bishop
Keep us
well,
with
he
you.
wants to go bishop e4 here.
Bishop e4.
Okay, you want to insist, and then bishop comes back, and then
Wait, what?
Yeah, queen e4 check, bishop g2.
How is this?
He's not impressed, so let's go
On
You-
king h2,
no.
bishop h3. This is all.
king H2.
queen h5, bishop h3.
No
check,
checks,
yeah.
and this falls.
So he's gone bishop e4.
Yes. Your move on the board. He's saying take that pawn, and like you said, black will have a beautiful pawn on d5.
Yeah.
Beautiful big pawn. We might see this line being played out. Magnus captures it, and Vidit.
He might want to. No, he's gone bishop d5.
Yeah, it's a very Vidit way of playing the position as well. He just, keeping everything in the perfect position, the
Yeah.
pieces.
Okay, let's go back to Arjun SLN because.
So still in balance this one before we jump to the next one. I mean, extra pawn, but Vidit has enough play, you feel, with the activity?
No, he is worse, but him,
Okay.
and at a high depth, it could well be the position there's enough compensation or something like that. But my instinct is, well, I don't know. I would suspect that black has compensation if I was white.
Yeah.
And if I was black, I would suspect that it wasn't enough. So,
You probably...
does that help?
No, it does help. And you probably hate making predictions, but if I ask you 2 minutes, 20 seconds to hold this kind of a position, what are the chances?
No, for a second I thought SLN had blown that, but in fact,
Oh, sorry.
all he's done is supposed to play rook d5.
We'll jump to that.
Yeah.
Clock might be a factor in this one for Vidit. Just want to point that out. And we will move on to, this is Vidit, the Arjun SL board, absolute chaos. We'll keep an eye on that.
But maybe now the problem is Magnus can play b4 and a5, and he's got a perfect structure on the queen side. Oh, and with Magnus is saying I'm happy with queen endings.
Yeah, it's the popular belief that that's one of his favorites, and he's the absolute best when it comes to these queen endings. He just knows how to maneuver the queen, and how many times you've seen him squeeze this stuff out. What do you think about that assessment, Magnus and queen
That
endings?
seems reasonable, though in a fair number of them, He's obviously been the side with a pawn up or something, but yes, he knows how to go round and round till your opponent forgets what is the drawing maneuver and then poke it in. No, but his score in queen endings is also incredible.
Fantastic, yeah. What are the, I mean, in this one specific, I mean, you know, there's a big advantage to white. So, can you just, from a overall perspective, is that just because one of the pawns is falling now?
Yes, but it's also because the biggest problem for black is that his queen has practically no squares. I mean, it's in danger of being exchanged almost everywhere, and on top of that, white's pawns aren't in any sort of danger. And these are the factors that make me think that it's just pleasant for white.
The white queen's beautiful. Do you just take on f3d?
I
Against
could, but
Vidit?
then the queen goes to f7 and maybe you play g6 or something like that.
Well, this looks good, but I really like the move b4 if I just
Yeah, I didn't want to take on f3. I want to play
just
and do some more
improve as much as
improving.
possible, and then you go.
Before, if queen f7, b5, I mean, you can't do very much really. So I just, and of course the computer drops the evaluation slightly. Maybe a5 was the point.
So, just keep this position and tough for black to make.
Oh no, maybe the
moves.
bar likes b5 more.
Maybe the bar liked king f3 more.
I like king f3. I'll give me those pawns, but it.
Nice, and then Vidit comes back, tail between the legs to d8.
Yes, and you spotted this just a few seconds before. I think at the same time Magnus made this move. How do you come to this kind of a decision like king f4?
I knew something is clearly better. I thought must be a queen exchange. No. I mean,
You make it sound very easy.
yes, but I would be a genius if I could have the eval bar running all the time. So I will
So he hasn't.
humbly acknowledge its contribution to that. But
Yeah, and I think that's also one of the factors that makes us appreciate, the audience sometimes doesn't appreciate how complex the game can be and how beautiful it is when the players discover these moves compared to the commentators.
because they have no sense of whether they're in the right path or not. Maybe for all Magnus knows, he may have spoiled his advantage already. He suspects that's not the case, but there are many positions where he might not even know if he's on the right track, and then you follow it. I mean, once I know I'm on the right track, I know it's not king takes f3, I know it's not b4, then it's too obvious. And it must involve a queen exchange, and it's the only way I could make a queen exchange.
He takes king f3 now, okay?
Very interesting. Yes.
Yeah, because if you were to go to, let's say, G, he didn't like it apparently.
I think you have the extra queen b8 check move, probably that's why.
Yes, but it didn't like it anyway, I think. Did he take on f3?
Yes, he did. And
He didn't like it anyway. But which means there was something much wrong.
You're
Maybe
completely.
we can actually watch what they're playing, right?
Yeah, it's not a bad idea whatsoever.
Yeah.
King takes pawn was taken.
Wesley is
not the most-
also probably winning, and he would be on 2.5 out of 3. He's won a game, right?
He won the first game, yes, against
Against
Vidit.
Vidit, exactly. So he's 2.5.
Yes, and SL is still playing.
Still
okay.
doing very well, but
Yes, this is. But I think from a practical perspective, even this position is very tough to hold with black.
he's gone queen b3, which is probably best. You might as well give up the. As they used to say, once you've blundered your pawns, you can't blunder them anymore.
Also, he has 2 seconds on the clock, so this is it's very easy to make a blundering.
Yeah.
So if white moves the king, maybe he wants to get more active.
I think if he wants to play f3, queen takes b2, queen takes g7, maybe is the thing. Then at least I take that pawn.
Yes. And Magnus will push this and push this.
Yeah, but
and
I'll go queen d2 or queen c1, and it's a long story.
it's a long story. I think
He's
decided
gone king g2.
to.
He didn't want to play f3.
Yes.
These are the marks of a. No, these are the marks of a specialist. Feeling that though the computer says it's wrong, it's that good intuitive sense. I mean, it also tells you just how strong the computer is, right? When it's able to say so many of the moves are just mistakes. That's it gives you a sense of the gulf.
Yes. But the move king g2, you said, I think it's also true, right? From a practical perspective, Magnus just keeps the king safe. And even if the computer thinks there's a stronger alternative, it's more
I
difficult.
think Magnus has kind of spoiled this. It's very difficult to advance that f pawn.
It's an
Though Magnus will do this a lot.
It's about 9 seconds as well
Yeah.
with the
Now
pawn.
he'll have to go back to C8 to protect that miserable one on ace. No, he's
Yeah.
got to D7.
So
But I can play A5, then I'll play King G3, then I'll play...
It's just, you can play this forever and
this
just
should be winning, no? Or you don't think? Or you think
He's
that's
played A5, yeah, this moves.
taking away more squares from Vidit. And the thing is, even if you're accurate for 5 moves, for 10 moves, in this kind of a position, black needs to be accurate continuously.
Yeah, Queen D1's nice.
So,
And now
creating
F3.
threats.
Can I
Yeah,
just
what do you do? Then I go check and back to D1 and I hope to start checking you on the 8th. So I'll come around the bend.
Goes
Queen D1.
F4.
Yeah, at least once you're roaming, I'll have checks. But what else to do? My king hardly has a move.
Yeah, that's
On no, he could go to C8 and just say the hell with it. Vidit could have, instead of Queen D1, he could have also gone King C8 and said, look, I don't have a better move. My queen is ideally placed. So I'll go back. Oh, well, he's done it now.
So, he instead played Queen D1 and
Pawn, King F5, you have to chuck the H5 pawn. And then
yes,
King F6 and F5 and it's going to win. Also because that H pawn, black's H pawn is going to shield white's king from a lot of checks. And that is a problem for...
you want to just pick up this pawn and kind of chuck it out of the board. But
You want to throw it away, but you can't. And that king is awfully safe there now.
yeah,
So
very nice.
what is...
Arjun, where do you...
Oh, yeah, Arjun is now winning.
I'm going to say it, but Sahaj predicted that a while ago.
No, there might be a perpetual. Sorry, no, it might be just a perpetual, or it might not lose.
But Arjun
Which I
has an
think
extra
he'll
pawn.
go mental if.
He can play Queen E2, no? If Queen B4, maybe you have some winning king pawn ending. Queen E3, Queen F4, I don't know.
Queen E3, King D5,
Queen G5.
King E6. I mean, I'm not in danger exchange.
I'm going to show that line. Queen E2 on the board. So you're analyzing
Okay.
queen takes pawn,
B4,
queen
yeah.
E3 check, king D5. And queen G5 you wanted?
Queen G5 I want.
Yeah, King E6. I don't see any.
Yeah,
hope
yeah.
for-
And this should be fine. This pawn should trade off at least one of the other 2 pawns. Let's quickly go back to our live board.
In fact, that's what's happening.
Yes. So this is where we are. Oh, but how did Arjun manage to do this magician-like thing where he's the one who's up a pawn now? If anyone's pushing, it's him.
For the record, his expression hasn't changed.
He's
No
sitting-
relief, no nothing. He's just.
Yes.
But I think good call. Apparently, the position was very difficult to play for black. Like I said, if that pawn had been on C7, you might have
Yeah.
been happier because at least one bishop you don't have to think about who's defending it, right? Yeah, but this is a trivial draw.
Vidit's going to play on, so queen takes pawn.
Yeah, but Queen B1 and
No,
it's,
this is this because he's losing the F2 pawn by 4.
Queen
so I
E4
think,
check.
And then queen F. So yes, it's. I don't need to show it. I think the players are going to play this out. King G3, queen F3.
Yeah, Arjun is willing to go for just queens, or even just a king in more ending. Now Queen E2, Queen takes H5 is
Yes,
good enough. That's it.
elementary, and that's it. Handshake. What a chaotic game by both players. And Arjun just as calm as ever.
And
Ends in
Magnus
a draw.
is totally winning.
Let's see if we can capture the final moments of that game. Magnus versus Vidit. If
Oh,
we
Wesley
can
might not be winning. because
quickly
that H
switch
pawn
our
is too
camera.
far.
Let's get our players on full screen in this game, as we've got the analysis board there as well. If we just zoom into our arena view. So, checkmate.
I think
being
Wesley has
seven.
spoiled it, so he's only on +1 and Magnus might catch up with him.
Let's have our analysis board as well so we can see the moves on the screen. And there we have it. So, I said this is completely winning. Too many threats for Vidit
It's and Black still hasn't lost that H pawn, so it's still blocking his checks.
now. Can you actually go queen d7 here?
Yes, he's done it in fact.
And goes into a winning king pawn ending to
And then
black's
king takes
game.
H5 and you go
Yes.
back.
You're just not in time. The king comes to g6 next. Oh, it's been a tough day for Vidit.
Yeah.
And Magnus is about to get his first win of the day.
All the other matches are finished. This is the last one, and only Norderbeck has won, and all the other games are drawn.
Yeah.
You know, in the opening ceremony, we really missed you, Anand, there.
Yeah.
And we spoke to Magnus. We had a few questions with him. And we see the final moments of this game being played out. I think Vidit will, probably at this moment, we'll see handshakes.
Yeah.
And there it is. Magnus gets his first win.